Good morning. My name is Erin Milligan. My pronouns are she, hers. And I'm a member of our earth-based spirituality group called ERDE. We're glad that you could join us this Sunday, either in person or online. If you're a visitor or a newcomer, we'd like to extend a special welcome. And if you are new to our congregation, be sure to fill out a newcomer form found in the live stream description or in the lobby of the church. After service, please join us downstairs in Fellowship Hall for coffee and donuts. We welcome families with and without children. Families with children are invited to connect with the RE, Religious Education Committee, after the service for more information about our RE program. If you are attending online, you can connect with each other in the virtual chat. And don't forget that the link for virtual coffee hour can be found in your weekly e-news, which is emailed to those who've signed up. If you'd like to receive the e-news, please fill out the form in the foyer or see one of us after the service or give Lynn Hunt a call at the church. There are several important announcements this morning. The first is Beyond Earth Day Part 2 of our Climate Revival, which has been scheduled for Sunday, August 3rd. On Sunday, July 27th, First Church members and friends can support the Hot Lunch program by preparing a meal for approximately 100 people in our Fellowship Hall kitchen and transporting and serving it at Trinity. Volunteers may sign up by accessing our online volunteer form, or you can sign up in Fellowship Hall. Members and friends of First Unitarian may now submit nominations for the 2025 to 2026 Designated Collections Program. Visit the church website for more information, and you'll find the nomination form there. Applications must be received by Monday, July 14th to be considered. Lastly, an announcement just for children and youth. Once a month during the summer months, come to worship and then head to RE after the Time for All Ages. Our special summer RE dates will be June 29th, July 27th, and August 24th. Now, please center yourself in preparation for worship. Welcome to this religious community where we affirm the worth and dignity of all who enter. We gather in community and understanding that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, identity, and theology. Our values invite us to a shared journey of truth and meaning-making. Together, we foster a spirit of gratitude and generosity so that we may all feel welcome and all can thrive. We are glad that you're here with us this morning. Please enjoy our prelude, Ombra Mai Fu, by George Frederick Handel, and performed by Alan Hoffman and Pamela Geppert.
Don't let her chalice. She's going to do it. Good morning. Yeah, I think you turned it off. Sorry. Good morning. My name. No, he told me to use it. My name is Lisa Ross, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. This morning we'll be talking about accepting impermanence and going with the flow of change and new possibility. However, before we begin, I just want to acknowledge the difficulty of doing that when the world as we know it is being dismantled and we are bombarded daily with terrifying change, including this morning, the bombing of Iran. I hope we can all find a glimmer of hope as we celebrate the summer solstice and the power of nature. As many of you know, Erde is the word for earth in German and stands for Earth Reverence Dedicants Extraordinaire, which is our earth-based spirituality group that was founded more than 15 years ago. Although we come from different religious backgrounds and experiences, we share an appreciation for the beauty, complexity, and abundance of nature. We strive to live by the values of balance, reciprocity, and interdependence. Our connection to the natural world gives us hope, spiritual sustenance, and guidance, all greatly needed in these troubled times. One of the ways we remind ourselves of that connection is by honoring the earth and its cycles through worship and fellowship. And we are glad to be sharing this summer solstice with you today. Our ERDE services are typically scheduled a little bit differently from the traditional Sunday worship, and today's service will be a bit of a hybrid of the two. Today's service was originally inspired by the recent tornado and the loss of trees, a stark reminder of the power of nature and the impermanence of even the most solid and rooted of beings. I invite you into worship with the poem Allow by Tommy Carr. There is no controlling life. Try corralling a lightning bolt, containing a tornado. Dam a stream, and it will create a new channel. Resist, and the tide will sweep you off your feet. Allow, and grace will carry you to higher ground. The only safety lies in letting it all in, the wild and the weak, fear, fantasies, failures, and successes. When loss rips off the doors of the heart and sadness veils your vision with despair, practice becomes simply bearing the truth. Come, let us worship together. Now please rise as you are willing and able and join us for our opening hymn, number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. We begin our service by welcoming the elements into our circle, beginning with the element of air. When I finish speaking, we will say together, welcome air, and we will do the same thing for each of the elements. We welcome air and are grateful for the gift of breath. The thin layer of atmosphere surrounding our planet makes life possible in all its complex and wondrous forms. I love the feeling of a gentle breeze on my skin. I invite all of you to take your fan and make a gentle breeze on your skin. Yet, on May 16th, we learned that when overheated and agitated, air can become violent and destructive, toppling life in an instant. We weep for the loss of shelter and lives, both human and otherwise. We acknowledge the power of natural forces, and we commit to doing what we can to restore balance. Welcome, air.
We also welcome the element of fire. Yesterday was the summer solstice, and it was the longest day of sunlight in our northern hemisphere. We are grateful for the warmth and the long light of the sun. We're glad for long summer evenings. We savor sweet, ripe watermelon, which I eat too much of, according to my family. And we love those fresh tomatoes and basil, all made possible with summer's heat. May the fullness of summer's light continue to expand and open us. Welcome, fire. Welcome, fire.
All right, now it's time to welcome water, my favorite element. So just months ago, the water was frozen in lakes and streams. It was in the form of snow falling from the sky. And now it's all around us in the air, in the humidity, as we struggle to breathe here in St. Louis. It's falling from the sky in the form of rain. It's also falling from the sky, sometimes in the form of hail. Water is powerful force. Water is a powerful force in nature, but it cares for us. It is what gives our bodies, our cells, what we need to continue to live. It gives our earth the moisture that it needs to grow our grass and our trees, our beloved trees, and our food. So we welcome water. Come see me after the service if you want a personal spritz.
The final element we are welcoming today is earth. And as an, okay. I don't know why you were pointing, you confused me. So here to welcome earth, I brought up a piece of bark from one of the oak trees that was standing out front. This is part of our service today when we're thinking about and honoring earth. Oh, that's what they're pointing at, a fire.
It's a real
Too much fire. Yes. Oh my goodness, it burst the glass. Okay. Now that that dangerous moment is over, let's think about earth and ground ourselves by stepping down with your feet on the earth. You can feel it below you. It's grounding you. It's the reason that you're here. So let's all say together, I'll say it first, then repeat after me. Welcome, earth.
Welcome, earth.
Hey, it's time for the story for all ages. If anyone would like to come sit up front, I'd love to have you. I was going to step down, but I think I'll take the safe route. Hi. Do you want to sit on the carpet? Welcome. So today's story is an adaptation of the children's classic, The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. How many of you are familiar with that story? Yeah, very well known. But we weren't too happy with the ending, so we're going to have an alternative ending today, inspired by an alternative ending that was written by a man named Topher Payne. Okay, so let's start with the Shel Silverstein book part. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. Do you have any trees that you love? Yeah? And every day, the boy would come and he would gather her leaves, like we do in the fall sometimes, and make them into crowns and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk. Have you ever climbed a tree? Yeah? Wow. And swing from her branches and eat apples, because it was an apple tree. Fruit trees are so great. And they would play hide and go seek. You like apples? Yeah? And when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. Could use some of that today for sure. And the boy loved the tree very much. And the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older. And as he did, he visited the tree less and less, and the tree was often alone. And this is where we start the alternative ending. Kind of. Well, actually, there's a little bit more of the, I'm going to summarize part of the Shel Silverstein, then we'll go to the alternative ending. So in the original book, the boy no longer wanted to climb trees and play. His needs changed, as all of our needs do in a friendship and in our own lives. And when he visited her next, he said he needed money to start a family. And the tree offered her apples to him so he could sell them and make the money he needed. Then he wanted a house, so she let him cut down her branches. And then he wanted a boat, so she let him cut down her trunk. Does that sound like a healthy friendship? No. Was the boy taking care of the tree the way she was giving everything of herself to him? No, he was not being a good friend. So the classic story ends with the boy as an old man only wanting a place to sit and the tree offering him to sit on her stump, which was all that was left of her. But what if they had developed a different kind of friendship? What if the boy made sure that the tree had water and explained that the squirrels nesting in her trunk wouldn't hurt her, and visited her regularly to see how she was doing and to talk with her and sit in her shade? Yeah, that would make everybody, feel better. What if the boy went to cooking school, became a pastry chef, and learned to make the best apple pie ever from the tree's apples, and opened a bakery and became successful and had a boy of his own, and his children and grandchildren played in the tree's strong old branches? And because of their friendship, the boy was successful and fulfilled, and the tree grew wider and stronger, standing tall and beautiful in the forest for many, many, many years, and a few more years even after that, just like this sequoia tree that could be hundreds of years old. She would have given her branches to build a house and her trunk to build a boat. She loved him that much. But then she wouldn't have had anything left of herself, not for herself or for anyone else. And there never would have been a home for the squirrels. There'd have been no hide and seek with the boy's grandchildren, no bakery with the best apple pies anyone ever tasted. By giving to and caring for each other, the boy and the tree and everyone could thrive. And they found that they had more and more to give. And so the tree was happy. Everyone was. The end.
Is an invitation to community, to support, celebration, and love. Now is the time in our service when we connect with one another by sharing our sorrows and our concerns. We're wishing Dwight Homer a speedy recovery after a recent ankle surgery. We're sending positive thoughts to Kimberly Perry and to her sister, who recently had surgery. We're sending healing thoughts and prayers to Karen Segrist. She's had a relapse in her cancer treatment and is being evaluated for new treatment options. We have a concern that the world as we know it seems to be a thing of the past. We're living from trauma to trauma. We have two joys. The first is for air conditioning. How did people survive the summer before it? The second, so grateful to add another year to my resume. We lift up these joys with gladness and celebration. May they be magnified because they are shared.
Let us quiet our minds and our hearts with meditation. By centering ourselves, we can meet life's ups and downs with grounded peace. Please bring your mind, heart, and body to an attitude of gentle and focused attention. Notice what is happening at this moment in this room through your senses. You may like to even close your eyes. Notice your mood, your thoughts. Notice where you most easily feel the effect of air going into your body and moving in your body. Find this natural rhythm of your breath and keep gently focusing on that. Say to yourself, I am noticing my next breath, and then the next one, and then the next breath. Practice now by taking 2 minutes of silent, mindful meditation. Gently allow the focus of your attention to rest with your breath for the last minute. As we each recenter, may that help connect us to a sense of deep love within us and the support of love in this community.
This is a chant I learned in Lakota, which is a Native American language spoken throughout parts of the Great Plains. I learned this chant as part of my participation in Sweat Lodge ceremony, and I offer it to all of you here today and to Grandmother Earth as thanks for everything that we are and have, thanks to the blessings of the natural world. Please excuse my voice as I'm chanting. I've been fighting bronchitis. The English translation of what I'll be saying is as follows. Grandmother Earth, thank you, thank you. Grandmother Earth, thank you, thank you for everything you give to me so that I can live. Takuiha maya kue janke wani yeloel. So now my reflection. I grew up in the far suburbs of Chicago, in an unincorporated area of DuPage County, south of a town called Hinsdale. When I was a kid, our street was originally a dead end, and the houses were on large country-sized lots, 2.5 acres. My parents had bought property that was partially an old Christmas tree farm with lots of overgrown pine trees, among many others. We had plenty of room to play and run wild in the trees in back, and had big old cottonwoods that grew tall and sent their cottony fluff flying all over the yard. We had one cottonwood in particular we called the climbing tree, and we nailed a few boards into the trunk at the base so we could more easily reach the lowest branches, and then climb all the way above the roof of the house, looking out across our neighborhood and past the large bur oak trees growing in front of the house. It was an idyllic childhood, to be sure, filled with long summer days spent playing outside until my mom rang the dinner bell. As I got older, a developer bought the farmland down at the end of the dead-end street and turned it into a subdivision. The suburbs had come to us in our own little corner of the world. I was kind of a weird child who liked climbing the pine trees in the backyard and reading my Nancy Drew novels in them, hiding from the other kids sometimes. So I was not happy to see trees knocked down and torn up for the sake of progress or profit or whatever it was the grown-ups wanted. I just wanted my life to stay the same. So I dreamed of a world where there were less people and less change. I read in the World Book Encyclopedia because that is how we learned things in ancient times before computers or the internet. Or maybe it was National Geographic magazine. I learned about Wyoming and how it was the most uninhabited state. And I thought, that sounded really nice. If there were less people, well, then there would be less development, less change, and that would be a good thing. So I wrote a letter to the tourism department there, and they sent me brochures in the mail, snail mail, delivered to my house about Wyoming, and I would daydream about living there. Does anyone else have dreams like that from childhood? Kind of these weird dreams that, just something you hang on to still? Dreams of escaping to a world where things wouldn't ever change. As I grew older, of course, things did continue to change, and my unincorporated part of the country neighborhood continued to be developed, and nature was torn down and replaced with parking lots and strip malls, and it made me sad to see. So then I started to think, well, maybe I could escape to a city, and that would be already built up, and I wouldn't see nature destroyed and replaced with man-made things. So I went off to college and had a great time, sort of learning a lot amidst all the fun that was had, and decided to move with my new husband at the time back to his hometown of St. Louis. That's a pretty boring story to tell, so I like to say the reason I moved here is because I couldn't find a parking place, so I just kept driving. I thought you'd like that one. Okay, now, ensconced in my new home in University City that was a fixer-upper, we did the young couple bit of putting sweat equity into the place and got it looking good. My career in video production then was starting to take off, and I loved our new place with the big, somewhat scraggly maple trees in front and a large oak in the back. It came to pass that my first husband, the one I moved away from my friends and family for, felt neglected because I was working a lot and decided to develop an overly close relationship with someone he shouldn't have. Right when I discovered this heartbreaking fact, they cut down the maples in front of my house. And that change, in addition to the pain caused to my heart by the betrayal, made me cry and cry. Now, we all sang earlier today, don't be afraid of some change. But sometimes change hurts. And it's not easy. It's painful. And I want to take a second to acknowledge that, to breathe into that and accept it. To accept that pain of loss of the trees, of the loss of the way things used to be, of loss of the irretrievable way we wanted things to be, but we couldn't make them that way any longer. We have all been there in one way or another. We have all wanted things to stay the same, even though they couldn't any longer. This is the hardest lesson of the Buddha. This is Dharma. This is the truth. There is suffering from loss, from the fact that there is impermanence in the world. I may not be saying that the way a Buddhist would exactly, but I'm a Unitarian, so I have poetic license. So what do we do with this lesson? Do we just shut down and escape this world that is constantly changing around us? Do we huddle into a fetal ball and cry? Well, in fact, sometimes we have to for a while. Sometimes it's in the snow, and your husband is driven off with someone else, and that's okay. Because like I said, it's not easy when things change. It's hard. It's new. Things look different. We may not like it that new way, but it is still the new way. We have to sit with it, get used to it. But then, what do we do after that? After we have grieved? After we have accepted that there is impermanence? What do we do? I'll tell you another story. So after University City, I ended up marrying a war veteran police officer, which was quite a shock to me, and the last thing I would have ever expected of my life. But it's what I did at the time. I knew him as a fan of my band before he was an officer, and anyway, there was no kind of weird attraction for me to police officers, believe me. I can only make that joke in a UU church. Anyway, we were required to live in the city, and we moved to Tower Grove East. I also wanted to live in a recycled house because I love the environment. Behind us were 4 completely derelict buildings, and as still somewhat young urban pioneers, we thought this was just fine because the house we got was beautiful on the inside. But being somewhat of a raised in the country girl, every time I went out on our back porch, I looked over at that mess, and it hurt my eyes. It literally made me understand what the term eyesore meant. Very thankfully, the city stepped in and tore down those buildings. We hosted a neighborhood meeting with our alderperson at my house to decide what we would do with those now vacant lots. With my background growing up climbing trees, I suggested putting in an orchard. And guess what? Everyone agreed. So I am now turning on its head the change, and I am becoming the agent of change in this story. Or I should say, I became the agent of change. My neighbors and I, as a team, took a place that was once horribly derelict and falling apart, a decayed development, and we turned it into something beautiful. Now, 11 years later, we have beautiful trees that give us lots of fruit every year. So my message is this: don't be afraid of some change. Trees will come, trees will go. Grieve the loss of the trees, grieve the way things used to be, but new trees will be planted. Accept the impermanence that is part of this beautiful, wonderful life that we are given. We can't control all the circumstances around us. Mother Nature is a powerful force, though. She can destroy, but she can also grow. We are all part of that life force that continues to flow through us and binds us together no matter what challenges face us. We will grow through them together as a community. Don't be afraid of some change. Welcome it. Hi, guess what? It's me calling for the offering. The First Unitarian Church of St. Louis strives to be a welcoming congregation, inspiring lives of loving kindness and integrity by nurturing spirituality, building community, and advancing justice. Your contributions support the mission and ministry of this congregation in the St. Louis region and beyond. Sarah, come on up and play.
Sarah and Kevin, for your gift of beautiful music, for Wild Things, for this community, and for the contributions of all of you today and every day. We are grateful.
This is from Alan Lightman, his essay, The Temporary Universe, from his collection, The Accidental Universe, The World You Thought You Knew. I don't know why we long so for permanence, why the fleeting nature of things so disturbs. With futility, we cling to that old wallet long after it's fallen apart. We visit and revisit the old neighborhood where we grew up, searching for the remembered groves of trees and that little fence. We clutch our old photographs. In our churches and synagogues and mosques, we pray to the everlasting and the eternal. Yet, in every nook and cranny, nature screams at the top of her lungs that nothing lasts, that it is all passing away. All that we see around us, including our own bodies, is shifting and evaporating, and one day will be gone. According to the Buddhist scriptures, when the Buddha passed away, the king deity uttered the following: "Impermanent are all component things. They arise and they cease. That is their nature. They come into being and they pass away. We should not attach to things in this world," say the Buddhists, "because all things are temporary and will soon pass away. All suffering," say the Buddhists, "arises from attachment." To my mind, it is one of the most profound contradictions of human existence that we long for immortality, indeed fervently believe that something must be unchanging and permanent, when all of the evidence in nature argues against us.
Now for my reflection. Relationships are like the weather. One moment things are calm and predictable, and the next a wind blows in a different direction and a storm changes your plans. People also change, or don't change enough. And just like when a storm changes your plans, it can be frustrating. Our attempts to convince someone in our life to change their behavior could be like trying to talk a tornado into stopping. We probably have all been there. Learning about research and influence, research in motivation and influence recently gave me new insight and hope. In the very popular Let Them Theory book, and this very popular podcaster, Mel Robbins, she summarizes in her book the Let Them Theory. Research from a behavioral neuroscientist, Professor Tali Sharan. Tali Sharan is a professor at University College London and MIT, and the director of Effective Brain Lab at University College London. I learned recently that we humans evolved to need control, and when that control feels threatened, we have the instinct to freeze. I imagine that instinct evolved in early humans for safety from stuff like mastodons and survival. The controllers, also try to control others' behavior, partly for the same reason we instinctively desire control. When we really want someone in our life to change and they don't, even when we just know it's the best for them, our stress levels increase. Our facial expression, words, and body language also convey some judgment, even if we don't think we're being sort of like friendly about it. You can tell, and it conveys judgment and frustration. This makes them even more stressed. My attempt to get people I love to do something or stop doing something actually makes them want to do it less. They are instinctively trying to get out of the feeling of being controlled. This is especially challenging for me when they have expressed seeking change in this very area. I have many examples of my attempts to convince, talk into, and motivate my family and friends. Even some of them are here today. Hopefully they have noticed some improvements. I am not entirely new to these concepts, so but I've also experienced anger and resentment that comes from a loved one who feels attacked and frozen when I've tried to motivate them or change their behavior. This cycle makes the relationship more tense, and I lose out on the love and affection and connection I need as a human. When I sit with the reality that I can't change behavior in people I love, it first touches into a sense of, for me, a sense of kind of like deep grief and some fear. I wonder, what if I lose them? Will I be okay with the choices they make? Will they be okay? Maybe some part of me, my brain that is instinctively wired for control, keeps trying to make the people around me better, so I feel better. As I remember and trust the benefits of letting go of control in relationships, I aspire to feel peace with the unknowns of life's impermanence. When I work more on things, on things like that I have more of a chance of controlling, like improving myself, I give people space to do things on their own time, and instead of trying to fix them, love, energy, joy, creativity expand. Research, luckily, indicates from the same author and the same researcher that I have been recently reading about. Research indicates your actions can actually positively influence somebody. Studies show that people are influenced by others they are around. So the difference between change and influence is I know it's a thing, Sarah's giving me this weird look. My own 20-year-old. Studies show that people are influenced by others they are around. My actions, like eating healthy or working out, may give people I live with and my friends some actual urge to do some of those things. My actions, like native gardening and using less DEET, can hopefully influence my neighbors and maybe cause some more beautiful birds, butterflies, and fireflies. It might take 6 months, a year, or never for them to change, but this approach is more likely to create conditions for others to improve versus directly trying to convince them or nag them. This attitude also inspires me to practice letting go of attachment. Individually and globally, we all thrive on the balance between control and letting go of control. Both human development and older conservation efforts can upset an ecosystem. When an ecosystem is healthy, fires, winds, storms, along with lightning, are a necessary part of sustaining life, balance, and regrowth. Scientists now understand this, and newer environmental conservation practices are starting to include things like controlled burns and more sustainable tree planting methods. Here, reducing control and letting nature's forces reestablish a healthy ecosystem allows life within its ecosystem to survive. When we let go of our attempts to control and let people in our lives have their own natural force of motivation and will, harmony and happiness expand. And this benefits the whole ecosystem around the relationship. My hope is that as I let them and let me, I offer more space in my life for connection, love, and for moments like the other day. After I finished a swim, I lay down on the bench outside the pool. I was filled with endorphins and warmth. I was in awe of the amazing clouds and sense of beauty, and the mystery all around all of us. I was reminded how much we are connected and how small we are compared to everything. Trusting that spacious impermanence brings me peace and a sense of freedom from worry, especially about others. To end, I will share one of my favorite Rumi poems. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase, each other, doesn't make any sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep.
As our service begins to come to a close, we thank the elements, earth, water, fire, and air, for being with us in our circle today and for their life-giving presence every day. As we reflect on their teachings of balance, reciprocity, and impermanence, please say together the words on the screen and in your order of service. Thank you, earth. Thank you, water. Thank you, fire. Thank you, air. Our closing hymn is number 155, Circle Round for Freedom. I don't know if this is going to work, but we were going to try to do something since we can't make a circle to maybe make chains. So if everyone, we would invite you to stand as you are willing and able. And if you're comfortable, hold hands with the people next to you in your row. And as much as you can, we'll make chains instead of a circle. We close with these words from Michelle Collins. Changes abound around us, within us, between us, in our communities, in our neighborhoods, and our beloved faith communities. Changes abound. May we each find the balance point we need as we move through our ever-changing world. The balance between the old and the new, between the known and the unknown, between the familiar and the perhaps bold and risky possibilities that may be there waiting. Now please stay for the postlude. I can see clearly now. With joyful hope for the passing of dark times and the dawning of a new, bright, sunshiny day, we invite you to sing and dance in the aisles, and then, as your final act of worship, turn and greet your neighbor. Do we stay up here, you think? I gotta turn this.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. Gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies.